Hello and welcome back to another episode of Easy Online German Video Trainings, and today's topic will be the German R. Many of you or some of my subscribers have requested such a video. Well, this is it, and this is actually only the first part of it, because I will also make a video about the R after consonants and grouped consonants. So, the R sound is not a typical German sound. It also appears in the French language, and that's why it is also called the French R. And it's rubbed between the back part of the tongue and the uvula, and this is also the reason why we call it the guttural R, because it's rubbed and not rolled. And by the way, the Arab speakers also have this sound in their own mother tongue, because there is an Arab letter called Rein, and the sound at the beginning, Rein, is also the same sound. You can also correct me if this is wrong, but I think it's the same sound. So the French and the Arab speakers can switch off now, but of course you can also follow my lesson if you want to. So I'm going to start with the explanation of where the sound in the mouth is produced, and as I already said, it's rubbed between the uvula and the back part of the tongue, so it's at the very back part of your mouth, and I will do my very best and open my mouth as wide as I can to let you see where this R is produced, and it sounds like r, r, and I will open my mouth a little more, so it's r, r, r. It's at the very back part of the tongue, and maybe you could see that it's rubbed between the uvula and the back part of the tongue. So this is a very unusual sound, I think, for most of you, for the English native speakers, and also for other foreigners who do not have this sound in their own mother tongue. Okay, I have prepared some examples, and the first example is a word where we have this R sound at the beginning, and this is the German word for round, and the German word is rund. Rund. And in this word we have the R at the beginning, so it's pronounced R, and we have a short U sound, and we also have a special sign, as you can see in the phonetic script, in brackets, and you can see the phonetic script after each word. Besides, the D at the end of this word is spoken like a T, and this is because we have it at the end of a word. It's important, by the way, that you do not pronounce this R too strongly, like rund, rund. So don't say rund, but rund. So a little more softly. Okay, then We can also have R in the middle of German words, and if it stands between two vowels or diphthongs, it's also pronounced R, and the first word is the German word for to hear, and the German infinitive is hören. Hören. So in the phonetic script you can see that we have a long Ö sound, and the sign looks like an O a little bit, and we have a double point after this Ö sign, and the double point is the sign in the phonetic script which always makes vowels long. We have an unstressed E in the last syllable, and this is an sound, and the sign looks like an E turned upside down, so it's hören. It's an sound, and most of the time you will not hear very much of this unstressed E sound, so most of the time the Germans say hören, so you don't hear very much of it. And the stress is on the first syllable, because we have the little tick in front of the H, or in front of the first syllable. So we say hören, and the H at the beginning is of course pronounced too. It's something else if we have it in the middle of a word, like in the following word, which is the German word for to drive, and this is fahren. Fahren. And so you could hear that in this word we don't speak the H, because the H is only there to make the R sound long, and in the phonetic script we have an A letter and a double point, and the double point makes this R sound long. Stress on the first syllable, unstressed E again in the last syllable. And I also have examples with the German R, or with an R in general, but in this case it's pronounced like a reduced R sound or an unstressed E sound And this is the case when we have one or more consonants following the R, and it depends on the vowel in front of the R, or vowel mutation, if the R is spoken like a reduced R sound or an sound, so unstressed E. And I have prepared some examples where the R is pronounced like a reduced R, and this is the case after the vowels A, E, or E in German, O, and Ö. And the first example I'm going to start with is the German word for card. And in German it is Karte. Karte. So we have an R sound, the German A, and we have the R and a consonant after this vowel, and so the R is pronounced like a reduced R sound, Karte. So we have the open R sound first, and then the reduced R sound, and this makes you say Karte. In the phonetic script we always write the R, but we don't pronounce it. Then we have a word containing the vowel mutation E, R, and then a consonant follows, and as an example word I chose the German word for trouble or anger, and in German it's Ärger. Ärger. So in the phonetic script you see the sign for the E sound, and this is almost looking like a big E, you can say. Besides, we have the ER ending, and this is always pronounced like a reduced R sound. At the end you can also see the sign for this reduced R sound. It's an A letter turned upside down. We can also have R and a consonant after the German vowel E, and in this word it's a short E sound, it's the E sound again, and this is the word for to throw, and in German it is werfen. Werfen. So we have the E sound after the V sound. The German W is always pronounced like the English V, and we pronounce the R like a reduced R sound in this case too, because it's R, werfen. We can also have R and a consonant after the German vowel O, and this is also the case in the word for tomorrow, and the German word is morgen. Morgen. So you have an open O sound, O, and this looks a bit like an O, and this is open on the left side. So this is the sign for the open O sound, O. And unstressed E again in the last syllable. So we say morgen. O, it's like O, morgen. So the R is again pronounced like a reduced R sound. We can also have Ö and R and a consonant following the R, and as an example word I chose the word for murderer, and this is murder. Murder. So you can hear that after this short Ö sound there's also a special sign which looks like an O and E put together. We have this reduced R sound again, murder. So it's and we also have E and R as an ending, and this is also pronounced like a reduced R sound, murder. And at the end we use the sign for this reduced R sound like in Ärger too, and this is an A letter which looks like an A turned upside down. Then we get to the vowels or vowel mutations which make the R sound like an unstressed E or a sound. And the first word is the German word for mountain range, so for more mountains, and this is Gebirge in German. Gebirge. So you see that in this case we have the stress on the second syllable because we have the little tick in front of the B, so in front of the second syllable. And besides, we have unstressed E's after the G, so it's the German prefix G and at the end of this word. And moreover, we have a short E sound after the B, and we say Gebirge, so it's ir, Gebirge. And we can also have a U and R and a consonant following the R. And I chose the German example word for storm, and in German this is quite similar. This is Sturm. Sturm. So we have ST at the beginning, and this is always pronounced st, but only at the beginning of a word or syllable. So it's the sh sound and T and a short U sound. And then we have the R, and when I say Sturm, you can hear that we have an U sound after the short U and then the M, Sturm. And we can also have U and R and a consonant, and as an example word I chose the word for dignity, and in German this is Würde. Würde. So you can see that we have the German W again pronounced like V, and we have a short U sound in this word, and there's also a special sign for this. Unstressed E again in the last syllable at the end of the word, and we also pronounce the R like an E sound, so like unstressed E, Würde, it's Ö. We can also have an R at the end of a word, and in these words it's not spoken R either, it's also spoken like a reduced R sound, or sometimes also pronounced like an unstressed E sound, and we have the same vowels or vowel mutations which make the R sound like a reduced R sound, and these are the vowels A, E, O and Ö. We can have A and R at the end of a word, as in the German word for clear, and in German this is klar. Klar. So we have an open R sound first, and then we have the reduced R following this open R, and this is klar. We can also have E and R as an ending, and this is the case in the German word for millionaire, for a male, millionaire, and in German this is quite similar. We say Millionär, Millionär. And in the phonetic script you can see the short E sound after the M, and because we have a foreign suffix here, it is a stressed suffix, so the stress is on the second syllable. As you can see, we have the little tick in front of the N, or in front of the second syllable, and after the N we also have this sign for the E sound again, which looks like a big E, and this is a long E because in the phonetic script we have the double point after the sound, and then we have the sign for the reduced R sound, which looks like an A letter turned upside down, so it's Millionär. So it's R at the end. We can also have E and R at the end, but in this case I chose a very short word, and this is the word for he, and in German it is er. Er. So you see that we have a long E sound, er, and we have the sign for the reduced R sound. We can also have the German O and R, but we can also have a word where we have a silent H again. So, as in the example word for ear, and the German word is Ohr. Ohr. So no matter if you have O and R as an ending, or if you have O and H and R, you don't speak the H. The H is only there to make the vowel long. So it's Ohr. And we have a long O sound, O letter and double point, and we have the sign for the reduced R sound again. We can also have Ö and R as an ending in a word, and I have the German word for hairdresser, for a male hairdresser, and this is a word taken over from the French language, and it is friseur. Friseur. We have one R after the F, and this R is pronounced R, friseur, but we also have the ending Ö and R, and in this word we have a long Ö sound, and we have the sign for the reduced R sound, so it's Ö at the end, and we have a soft S in the middle, friseur, and the stress is on the second syllable because this is a French word which formerly had the ending E, U and R, but we adapted it to the German language and we use the Ö and R ending now. Then we get to the vowels and vowel mutations which make the R sound like at the end of German words, and these are the same which we had when we had R in the middle of a word followed by a consonant. And we start with the vowel I, or E as we say in German, and I have the German word for we, and this is wir. Wir. So the German W pronounced like the English V, and long E sound, I letter and double point, and in the phonetic script I use this sign for the unstressed E, because it's wir and not wir. And to my surprise, the dictionaries use the sign for the reduced R sound, but this is wrong, because as I already said, we don't say wir, we say wir, so it's an sound at the end. We can also have a U followed by an R at the end of a word, and I have the German word for only or just, and in German it's nur. Nur. So long U sound and the sound again. Nur. It's not nur. The last example is the German word for door, and this is Tür. Tür. We have the vowel mutation Ü and R, and this is the last example, and I hope this lesson was helpful. I will also make a second video, and the second video will have the R after consonants or grouped consonants. So this will be an extra topic with an extra video, and I hope you will also watch it. I think it will be worth watching. So for this time I say bye bye, or as we say in German, tschüss.